On tonight's show, we find out how to nip premature hair loss in the bud.
Plus, the options available if you want a full head of hair.
All this and more on
Everybody Knows.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Everybody Knows. And I know, as a very, very young senior, does that work? At age 51, I guess I'm blessed because I still have a decent loaf on top of my head.
Well, good on you, but are you sure you're not wearing like a toupee or covering the bald spots with, you know, those
spray?
shading? Yeah, the topical shading.
Spray it up,
you know what?
man. Gotta do what you gotta do. Look, what you see is literally what you get. And thanks to my regular intake of Propecia, I may get to keep my hair thick and lustrous and lovely.
Well, may your follicle wishes come true, Mike. But for now, let's bring on our hair gardener for the day, Dr. Elias Tam. Come on out, Doc.
All right.
Hello.
Hi, Catherine and Mike.
All right.
Welcome to the show.
My pleasure.
How you
So
doing?
happy to have you.
Yes.
Hello, hello.
Okay, so Dr. Elias, you often
Yes.
liken hair management and treatment to gardening. That's interesting. Why is it so?
Well, if you look at it, in gardening, you look after the seed, the soil, the water nutrients. You make sure that you take care of all the insects, right? So you put in insecticides, and you will have the sunlight to make sure you stimulate. Likewise, the hair is similar. You need to look after the hair follicle, the skin, the blood flow nutrients, making sure that the hormones such as the DHT is not affecting it, and you need to stimulate it. And any of these factors that would affect the way the hair grows, just like in gardening. It has to be constant as well. You can't just ignore it. You have to constantly tend to it.
I guess there's so much I don't know about. I didn't realize that the skin is a factor as well.
You know, definitely.
So I guess it really matters what you're washing your hair with then?
Well, washing the hair, of course, because the kind of product you use, if it is going to affect your scalp and causing a lot of problems. Well, in some people, they can have very bad scalp and the hair will still grow. But in individuals where the hair is weak, just like maybe planting a bed of roses, you have to be a lot more careful.
Sounds like photosynthesis is happening on your head, Mike. But you know what? We've heard so many possible causes for hair loss, such as genetics, diet, your lifestyle factors. What would you say if you had to single the biggest culprit? What would that culprit be?
Well, statistically speaking, it's still hormones. So genetics, the genetic is still the number one.
Genetic, right, but the hormones. Is that what Propecia then does? Does that, like a finasteride?
If you're talking about finasteride, yes. So because the major cause of hair loss in men is genetics, and it's not that you have higher or lower level of hormones, but how sensitive are you to the male hormone?
I'm sorry, what is Propecia?
It's a
Finasteride is a
finasteride.
brand.
Okay.
Yeah, so Propecia is a brand. What you want to talk about is the ingredient, finasteride.
So it stops hair loss, basically.
It stops
For
it.
those who are sensitive to DHT, if the cause of hair loss is not due to you being sensitive to DHT, then you will not help. So we need to know for sure what is the main factors that affects hair loss.
You know, on that note, what are some of the misconceptions about hair loss?
Plenty. I think some people would, especially if they go to some of those non-medical establishments, they will use some scan and they say, oh, look at that, there's a lot of oil. Your scalp is oily, that's why you're losing hair. That is not a cause for hair loss.
Really?
No, it's not.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Well, hey, guys, this conversation is about to get a lot funnier because we do have two people who don't even need an introduction. They're hilarious. I've worked with them before. Absolutely love them. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome out to the stage, Alaric, and we also have Enlai. Guys, come on out.
Hey.
Where are they? There we go.
Hello. Did I set you guys up a little too hard? Because now you got to be funny.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fine. Well, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Are we talking about hearing loss today?
Yeah.
Just heard our names,
good job.
Why not?
Loss is correct, but it's hair loss.
Right. Close, very close.
But I have to say, you guys have a luscious head of hair.
Luscious.
Luscious.
I'm on the finasteride, which keeps my hair in check. You guys taking it as well, or?
I am.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Yes.
all natural.
So oral,
You can tell.
oral version.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Is there another version?
It can be topical as well.
Oh, like as in you like rub
Just
it into
apply
your scalp.
together
what's
with
that?
minoxidil. So everybody know about minoxidil,
What is this
right?
minoxidil thing? I've heard it promoted before, but I don't know what it is.
It's topical. Nobody actually know how it works. but it seems to work.
Even the scientists.
It's brilliant. Yes, it's the facts. They say that you don't know how it works, but it seems to increase the blood flow. It seems to stimulate the hair growth. And I've seen cases where the ladies took it and they say, yeah, my hair grew. Wow. And so did my facial hair. So they do grow hair. They really, really increase the hair.
Do you think having a full head of hair has a direct correlation to masculinity?
I think I don't look good without hair.
That is about proportion.
Oh,
That's proportion.
And vanity.
And vanity.
I think having no hair is quite manly, right?
If you have
if
the
you
right
can pull
head
it off,
shape.
Bojack.
Oh! Oh, wow, that's really like...
Hair is such an essential component because it frames your face. So some people will do well with certain hairstyle. Some people look good without hair. Some people need hair to help shape the face and correct the proportion. And that is all about proportion.
Okay.
But Doc, I do want to ask you, what sort of tests are done to diagnose hair loss?
Well, before you even go to what tests, you first need to have a proper history and examination to see what is the likely cause. For example, if you think that it's for a female having heavy menses and look a bit anemic, we'll just to check is the patient anemic. Because anemic, especially in female, is a major cause of hair loss.
Oh.
Some people with thyroid problem, they have hair loss as well.
Can we ever prevent hair loss?
Well, depending on what is the underlying cause. So in many cases, yes. Especially if you notice, like Mike, he noticed, he starts to have some hair loss.
Stress.
Like losing more than 100 hair per day. You say, something is not right.
Okay, but Mike, did you go for a test?
I did. Well, after when I lost, I went to the doctor.
Yeah.
And she said, this is male pattern hair loss. And I'm like, but I was like crazy stressed, and she says, yeah, but it's also it's just male pattern hair loss. Yeah.
It's probably the underlying cause, and something just triggers it and aggravates it, and so it started to lose hair faster than you should.
I color my hair. Could that hurt my scalp? I try to use like the more natural one, but how natural can it be?
Depends. If you have very sensitive scalp and you're using those chemicals that are very high in the content, especially like ammonium, then that would, of course, irritate it. It's probably going to cause some irritation, and some of the hair may be dropped faster than it should, but it's not a major cause of hair loss unless you really, really do a lot of it, and you can see a lot of damage to the scalp.
Okay, also, how can people cope with the emotional trauma of, because for some people it really is traumatic. When you lose the hair, as a man, you really do feel, can people see it,
I can. No, but it's okay, Mike.
Well, I suppose you need to come from a holistic management. First of all, know that there is possible help. Go and see a doctor, get it sorted out. And if it's treatable, get it treated, or at least slow it down. But in some cases, like chemotherapy or some other condition, where you know that they're going to drop hair, then it's good to be able to accept it because you can't prevent it. And I'm sure a lot of people around you will accept it, because you have a condition.
Yeah.
And some people still go on to do very well in whatever career they choose to.
One thing that I see on social media are these ads that talk about, take this supplement for hair growth and this is going to be great. So what are the do's and don'ts when you're selecting supplements for hair growth or to promote hair growth?
Well, before you jump in to buy any supplement, you may want to just talk to your doctors first. And if they think that you really have some deficiency, sure, take some supplement.
Right.
But if you're not short of those vitamins, that means you're perfectly healthy, you're eating well, you do your blood test, everything is normal, and you consume excessive, you can actually overdose yourself that lead to hair loss.
Wow.
What?
Overdose can
I
lead to
love
hair
taking
loss.
supplements. I'm like, every morning.
In the process of trying to prevent hair loss, you have hair loss.
Yes, too much of even a good thing can be bad.
Like too much of anything, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys, all my beautiful haired people, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to find out whether hair transplants are a viable option to consider if precious locks of hair are falling off earlier and faster than usual. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Everybody Knows. Guys, I'll tell you, what are some of the interesting, absurd, or bizarre hair loss treatments that you've heard of or even applied? We've all done some crazy things in the name of keeping this hair.
Well, the thing is, Doc, does rubbing whiskey on your scalp actually work? Does it encourage hair growth?
Wait. Okay. I think it does. I think it does. Doc, can you verify?
No, it does not.
No, but when I was growing up, I wanted facial hair. So I like took a bit of my dad's like beer or whatever. I put my hand.
Whiskey and beer, different
No,
things.
but my father didn't drink whiskey, yeah. Next thing you know, when I was like 15, 16, my hair was like growing in places I didn't want it to grow. Like, hey, stop.
I think that was just natural progression.
Okay.
Men, right?
Okay.
We all have some facial hair.
genetics, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it sounds like you guys are perfect for our true or false game that we're going to play, and Dr. Elias, and he will let us know whether each one is true or false, but we have to answer first, okay?
Hair loss, is it only caused by genetics?
Only, not
yeah.
false.
Oh, not bad. I've been listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's false. It's probably the most important factor, but it's not the only cause.
Okay.
Yeah.
Statement number 2.
Stress can lead to temporary hair loss.
But hair loss is permanent. Once you lose it or it's gone, right?
No.
Decide lah.
You rub some whiskey.
The rate of loss, what?
True?
Oh, yes, it's true.
Okay, cool.
In some cases, there is this condition where people start to pull their hair. They feel that physical pain helps to distract them from the stress.
Oh, wow.
So they start pulling it. And in those cases, if they do it repeatedly, it can actually cause scarring to the hair.
Okay,
next
statement
question.
number 3.
Okay, wearing hats frequently can cause hair loss.
I'm going to say it's true.
I think it's true too.
Yeah.
Really? Come on.
Wow, Alaric,
True
might
versus.
false.
What do you think?
I think it's true.
Why? Why do you think it's
Because
true?
it traps the oil.
And the heat or
The oil
something.
that we
All that you need.
You've not been listening, right dear?
The oil that you need.
Yeah, so no, it doesn't cause hair loss.
No, really?
Unless you're saying that it causes so much irritation that you get infection.
Okay.
So infection itself can cause hair loss. Okay, hair loss affects more men than women.
I would say it's true.
Oh.
Okay, you guys have been listening.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, good. It can affect both men and women, but men are affected by the alopecia, the androgenic pattern baldness more than women.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, statement number 5.
Eating a heavy meal before going to bed can contribute to hair loss.
I've never heard that. It can
ever
certainly
heard
contribute
that.
to like fatness. but hair loss.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
false.
Yeah.
Wait, one more question. Does eating too much sodium cause hair loss?
There's no studies, there's no proof that says that connect sodium to hair loss.
Right. Okay,
So it can't be. I mean, at least there is no evidence that I know of.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
that's a myth
May change tomorrow.
round that we had.
Well, guys, while some people can happily shave off their head and not give two hoots about self-image and looking good, going bald just isn't an option for everyone.
Michael Chua, a freelance actor and model, decided to seek professional advice and treatment when his hair was thinning and balding patches were spotted on his head. Here's his story.
Well, at the start, there's just a few balding patches on my scalp that is just like, oh my God, I have to find out where and how does it happen. So I'm so afraid to go for any social events and also any jobs.
With a head full of hair and his youthful looks, Michael Chua is often mistaken for at least a decade younger than his actual age of 45. But this was someone who used to struggle with a receding hairline and hair loss issues.
It all started for me actually in 10 years ago, that's around 2014, where, because of my job as a host and also as an actor, appearance really plays a huge part, in keeping it, make sure that it's well maintained, especially my hair, my face, my body. So when every morning when you start waking up, you start seeing balls of hair actually on your comb, on your basin, on your bed, you definitely feel very, very anxious, very, very stressful that you found actually where does all this hair comes from? Am I dealing with a major hair loss? So at the time I was like, I'm just 35 years old. So it's just like maybe at the age, maybe that's not too common, or maybe I feel that I'm still young. I should not be losing so much hair because I had to be on screen, I got to be on the stage, hairspray, tons of it, and also color hairspray and also hair fiber, just to cover that balding patches. But it was super challenging, and it's very difficult to hide those balding patches. I need to find out actually the solution to my problems. So that's where I started seeking out Dr. Elias.
Michael had tried many different ways of preventing, slowing down, and covering up his hair loss condition, but none proved to be lasting and fruitful in the long run. Finally, he decided to consult a medical professional to address his hair follicle woes.
So when I go for the consultation where they did a scalp scope, that's where I realized that I'm losing hair follicles at the balding area. That means there's no roots, no hair. So no matter whatever treatment, it won't help. So that's where I realized that, okay, I need a more drastic procedures to do for it, which Dr. Elias was suggesting FUE, which is follicle unit extraction. It's basically just to extract your hair follicles, from your own hair and put it on those balding area. So it's your own hair genetic, and your own hair DNA. For me, it's such an effective procedures because it lasted me that was 10 years ago. So right now, actually, my hair's still there. So my crowning glory is still intact.
Michael understands that to achieve his desired goal of sporting healthy-looking hair over a continuous and prolonged period of time, he must be prepared to invest a considerable amount of time and money, as well as putting up with some degree of pain and discomfort.
Some of my friends did ask me about the pain. Why is it painful? And things like, plucking out your hair, things like that. I feel that you don't have to worry about that because before the operations, they will definitely put a numbing cream on your scalp, so you will not feel anything. Maybe a slight prickling of the needle and stuff because they're using a needle machine to harvest your hair follicles and then implant on your balding area. So strain by strain. So the procedure could last to like 8 hours. Your first 1 week, you cannot even shower. But from the second and third and fourth week onwards, then it starts getting easier because the old hair start dropping, the baby hair start growing. And that's where you can start to shower your hair itself and to take care of it. So after 1 month, give and take, your hair will be fully grown by then. My 2 cents worth advice is not to ignore the symptoms of your hair loss and be willing to talk about it and to seek professional help. And to watch over your diet, of course.
See, he talked about diet. I'm telling you, it's sodium.
He said diet?
No, just about getting nutrients.
Healthy lifestyle, bro.
Just the nutrient, not the sodium. Okay.
Yeah. So can you run us through what happened there?
Well, in hair transplant in the old days, we cut out the whole strip of hair and then slice it so you can implant it. But for Asian in particular, for Chinese and for darker skin, our skin is very tight and it tends to split open and leave a bad scar. So what then happened now is that we do this FUE, follicular unit extraction, which means we take out the follicle by follicle. It's basically hair redistribution. You get to transfer from area that is strong and dense and take some of them and put into the area that is weak. So actually we will do certain method, we will analyze it and we do a few tests to make sure that we're getting the right depth, the angles that we want, the depth.
That's why you're like a gardener.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just
really
like, I'm going to take this plant and I'm going to...
Okay, but I do have a question. What's the difference between a hair transplant and hair weaving?
So hair weaving is not using your own hair. It's using fiber. It doesn't grow and it gives a lot of problems. At the moment, none of the materials for hair weaving is able to stay long without triggering a body reaction.
Would it be a problem? Would you get an infection if I was like, hey, bro, I got a lot of hair. Alaric, you can have some of mine.
No, you can't. Well,
You have to use your own.
your own from the, it can be from the back where they are good.
But it will
or
cause
in
an
your case,
infection if you put it into somebody else.
it's not infection, it's a rejection. It's like organ transplant because at the end of the day, what we are transplanting is not the hair, not this hair. What we are after is actually the stem cells that is in the hair, the graft in the follicles. And these are the cells, the stem cells around the hair follicles that will regenerate the hair, which is why when you have a hair that drop out, it will grow back again. The cells are able to grow back again.
Okay, Doc. So what types of people or profiles would benefit most from a transplant?
So typically, the scalp is healthy. There's no underlying diseases. It's just androgenic pattern baldness.
Okay.
So those are the best. And it has stabilized. If it's still progressing very rapidly, that means it's not under well control. You don't want to be doing hair transplant on that because then you will have a strip of hair that's growing from the transplant and hair start to ball behind it.
Right, so it's not quite done.
Because the foundations are not good, not strong.
No, it's still progressing. So you want it to stabilize, or you need medication, or like what you are taking, finasteride, minoxidil, to stabilize it, prevent further hair loss, and then we do the hair transplant.
Right. We will be right back. We're going for a quick break. When we come back, we're going to find out the differences between male and female pattern baldness. Don't go anywhere. While it appears that hair loss affects more men than women, the fact of the matter is both male and female pattern hair loss share some similarities and differences.
Dr. Elias, can you share with us some of the similarities and the differences?
Well, basically both of them, the underlying reason is the same. It's genetics, that people are prone to the effects or sensitive to the hormones DHT, and hence they start to have hair loss. For the man, you will start to see this receding hairline resulting in the M shape, and sometimes from the vertex as well. And the female tends to have this more generalized kind of hair loss all over the top of the head, where the hairline is usually not affected. But that said, it doesn't mean that man can't have a female pattern baldness, and the female cannot have the male version of or the pattern of it. So it can happen. But generally speaking, man tends to have it earlier because of the higher concentration of the DHT, the dihydrotestosterone.
Do you get women coming in for transplant?
Yes, we do. So there are two groups of them. One of them is that they just have very high forehead. So they do not have a hair loss, but they want to correct the high forehead, or they want to have a certain pattern to it, like they like to have that little sharp tip in the middle.
Widow's peak thing.
Yeah, widow's peak. But there are also those with female pattern baldness and who would also like to do something for their hair loss as well.
If someone is not ready for hair transplant, what are there other options available?
For some people, like what you mentioned, it can be topical, it can be oral. There are also certain medication, certain treatment where we try to stimulate the hair. Because if there's still hair follicles, right, you can actually try and stimulate the hair that has weakened to try and grow again. Some people use lasers. So lasers is interesting. When lasers was first used on hair, it was to remove hair. But they noticed that around the area where the lasers was treated, there is actually increased hair growth. And we also now realize that we can also use high-intensity focused ultrasound, which normally is used to tighten the skin, right?
Yeah.
But they notice at very low dose, very, very low dose, if you target the right level, you might potentially also stimulate the hair to grow. So there are many little things that we've been testing, and some of them are getting interesting results. But these are the early stages of it.
What causes gray hair?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Why?
No,
Because
everybody knows. It's the name of the show. Come on, guys.
nobody knows.
Yeah, nobody knows to be the title of this show.
So because in some cases, some people have it earlier than others, but they do notice that when under severe stress, like sickness and all that, people can have the hair can turn white under stress, under sickness.
But then it
and
stays
they can
that way,
reverse.
or- They can reverse.
In those cases, I've seen it reverse when the health is returned to normal and actually the hair start to turn dark again.
Alaric,
Right.
Yes.
yoga. Go and meditate.
He said, "No, you are sick."
Also stretch. He
He's
said
saying that you're sick.
stress. Oh.
You know, as we age, hair loss just happens, and it may be permanent. But you know what? There is something we can do about it. We can man up and be like The Rock, or we can go see Dr. Elias and get it handled.
That's true. A huge thank you to Enli and Alaric for joining us on the show. It's
Pleasure.
always so much fun to have you guys on. And thank you, Dr. Elias, as well.
Most welcome.
All the great advice. May we never lose our hair. Thanks for watching. Everybody knows. We'll see you soon.